really don't know why I had to struggle so much. But I guess, well, sometimes, you know, you don't always get whatever you want the first time. So that is to put it in a very simple way. But the idea of wanting to pursue doctoral education here in the US, I think started in 2012.
Okay.
I think when I was doing my master's degree. Okay. So I applied to a couple of schools. I think I remember University of Saskatchewan, McMaster University, and the two other schools I can't easily recollect.
Okay.
Whose names I can't easily recollect. So I did those two schools, I think in 2011 or so, and I wasn't successful.
Okay.
And of course, you do that, you don't succeed, and so you have to try again. I actually applied for some master's programs, even though I already had a master's degree with the intent of leveraging the international experience context, so that I could just leapfrog from there and get into my PhD. Even that I wasn't successful.
Okay.
I didn't know that I had to go more than once, so I repeated the same process in 2012 again. I don't remember all the schools I did at that time, but I wasn't successful as well. So I went through 2013, failed another batch of applications. 2014 failed another batch of applications. 2015 failed another batch. 2016. So 2016 for 17, that's when I was successful. So all in all, I think I did 30 applications.
Wow. Welcome once again to the life of the AfroPro. On this show, I interview young African professionals in the diaspora. Today, I'm excited to have one gentleman who has a beautiful story to share. I know you've been seeing a lot of videos around encouraging you to seek for greener pastures. But the question is, how do you integrate into the system and focus on your career in order for you to be successful? That is the essence of this program. If you are new to this channel, kindly subscribe, share for a friend or a family member. You may never know how this information will be useful to the person. My name is Kofi Boache. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm excited to have with me Dr. Alex Osei Kojo. He's Assistant Professor of Energy and Environmental Policy at University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Dr. Alex Osei Kojo, you are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's good to see you once again.
It's always a pleasure to meet you.
All right. Okay. So if you're ready, we'll go straight into the conversation today.
Let's get started.
Okay. All right. So I want us to start with a little bit about your background, and you tell us your career journey too.
So I'm sure you know, in terms of background, I'm Ghanaian. I moved here, I think, in 2017, I think.
Okay.
So I came here for my doctoral studies. And before that, I had my first and second degrees in terms of my first graduate degree at the University of Ghana, my bachelor's also at the University of Ghana.
Okay.
And I worked there for a while before I moved here. What was your second question again? I missed
your career journey. So you started from University of Ghana, but I just want to take you a little bit back. Before University of Ghana, tell us a little bit about your basic and high school education.
Oh, you want all of those?
Yeah, we are interested in that.
Okay. So I was born and raised in Takoradi, Western Region. So back in Takoradi, my high school was in what today you guys will call grade A school. So this was in the Western.
Wow.
Or the GSTS, Ghana Secondary Technical School.
Okay.
So that's why I did my high school. The place I was born, they call it Kojokrom. So I was born there, raised there until I came to Accra, as most people do, for university.
Okay.
I think it was probably my second time. I'm not sure, but it was probably my second time in Accra at the time I came for university education.
Okay.
So I came and spent, I think, about 4 years, majored in political science. And I went on to become a TA in the Department of Political Science.
Okay.
Went on to do my master's and then worked at Legon for a few years, I think 2 years or so. And then I got out and came here. And as they say, the rest is history.
Okay, interesting. I think I like the
Yeah.
background. Why did you move to the US? Why the US and not any other country? Can you tell us a little bit about?
I get that question all the time.
Yes.
I think that there's a lot of learning a person can do simply by experiencing something new,
Okay.
right? So a bit of the motivation comes from there. I think getting into a new space where you are plunged into a different educational system, where you experience how people are trained and taught,
Okay.
and how students are prepared in a different context, really does something to your education. At the very least, it can help you to spice it up.
Sure.
So a bit of it really comes from that understanding.
Okay.
That experiencing something new can be useful for a person's education.
Mm-hmm.
Why the US? Well, I have my own bias.
Okay.
I have my own bias, and I think it's a neat bias. So I don't know your familiarity with different countries and how they are known for certain types of education. So for the
Okay.
most part, if you're thinking about science, right,
Mhm.
particularly natural science,
Okay.
I think I'll bet on countries like Germany,
Yeah.
maybe Singapore to some extent, maybe
Okay.
Japan. I think those countries tend to do extremely well. And that is not to say that I know other countries like America and the UK are not doing well, but I think the overall picture
Mhm.
is that they seem to have some interesting things going on there.
Yeah.
So if you reverse that understanding in the context of policy and political science and maybe things like economics, for example, I think that the US is probably has an upper hand in what a person can study, what a person can learn, and all of that. It is hard to imagine any meaningful history of political science without thinking about the United States. Okay.
Sure.
And even public policy as well. So
Okay.
part of the drive for me was, okay, first of all, experiencing something new could be useful, but then also the understanding that if you want to understand public policy in any serious way, I don't think you can take the United States out of the
Okay.
equation. Yeah,
Okay.
so it
Yeah.
was all about the US.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So I just want to find out, did you struggle to get into the US, or it was something that was very smooth? You applied for the schools and then you got in right away without any difficulties.
It was a big struggle. It was like
Okay. Tell
how
us about that.
Ghana struggled for independence.
Okay.
No, it was a difficult struggle. I really don't know why I had to struggle so much. But I guess, well, sometimes you don't always get whatever you want the first time. So that is to put it in a very simple way. But the idea of wanting to pursue doctoral education here in the US, I think started in 2012.
Okay.
I think when I was doing my master's degree. Okay. So I applied to a couple of schools. I think I remember University of Saskatchewan, McMaster University, and the two other schools I can't easily recollect.
Okay.
Whose names I can't easily recollect. So I did those two schools, I think in 2011 or so, and I wasn't successful.
Okay.
Um, and of course, you do that, you don't succeed, and so you have to try again. But at that time, because I was in my master's program, I was not perturbed. I wasn't really worried. I thought,
Okay.
okay, I mean, it's just a matter of time. Something is going to work out. I think in hindsight, I don't think I was correct.
Okay.
I didn't know that I had to go more than once. So I repeated the same process in 2012 again. I don't remember all the schools I did at that time, but I wasn't successful as well. So I went through 2013, failed. another batch of applications.
Wow.
2014 failed another batch of applications.
Wow.
2015 failed another batch. 2016. So 2016 for 17, that's when I was successful. So all in all, over the 5-year or so
5-year period.
Yeah,
30
I did 30
applications.
Yeah, 30. I applied 30 times. I succeeded on the 27th application, 28th, 29th, and 30th.
Okay.
So the last batch of applications I did in 2016 were the successful ones.
Wow. They all gave you admission with funding and everything?
Yeah. All of them gave me funding. I had 4. So I was admitted into 4 schools. And I was spoiled for choice and I didn't know which one to choose.
Okay.
But all the applications I did before that time failed.
Wow.
And there were times I even wanted to apply. I think I did, not I even wanted to. I actually applied for some master's programs, even though I already had a master's degree with the intent of leveraging the international experience context, so that I could just leapfrog from there and get into my PhD. Even that I wasn't successful.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was rough. It was rough.
I can imagine.
Very rough.
Good applications.
Yeah.
What kept you going? Why didn't you give up along the line?
I mean, if you want to do something, you try. It doesn't work, you try again. If you want it badly, I think it was in my mind. I imagine it was all that I wanted to do. Okay. And you don't see a lot of other options. Okay. So in the line of career I wanted to pursue, get a PhD, perhaps is the ultimate. That is not to say that after your PhD you stop learning. I think there's a lot of learning that you have to do even after your PhD. If you want to stay updated and be in tune with emerging trends in knowledge and practice.
Okay.
But in my mind, it was all that I wanted to do, and nothing else really attracted me apart from that. So yes, the failures were painful. At certain times, yes, I got very discouraged, and even questioned myself. Okay, am I thinking straight? Am I thinking right? Am I not perhaps deceiving myself into thinking that this is, the only thing I wanted to do? So I think that was what kept me going. The overall mindset that this is what I want to do.
Okay.
And understanding that I think after my 3rd batch of applications, I realized that failure is okay in life to fail. So I embraced my failures, not only in that part, but in other areas of my personal life. Just embrace them and just move on.
Well, it must be a tough person. Yeah, because it's not easy for a period of 5 years chasing one dream.
Oh yeah,
all distractions and a lot of talks around, but you stayed glued to your career and your dream.
If you want to do something, I think it's so. In hindsight, I really don't see anything special about it. Maybe in hindsight, I sitting back now, I can talk this way, but I don't think there's anything special about it, special or magical about it. You want to do something, you try. It doesn't work. Okay, you try again.
Okay, so can you tell us the very things that you did within this period of failure, or within the period that you were trying these things and you were failing continuously? What were some of the key things that you did to stay glued to your dream?
I don't remember everything off head, but I remember I kept the news of my disappointments, to very few friends.
Okay, so
I think it was my own way of
private to you. You didn't share with others.
Oh yeah. I mean, a few people very close to me knew.
Okay.
Not only because I didn't want to tell them, or not just because I didn't want to tell them, but I felt that at some point they felt more worried for me than myself.
Okay.
And I didn't think it was was a good thing. I didn't think I think they had good intentions, you know, to be be a little sympathetic if you want.
Yeah.
You know, but I didn't think I wanted that kind of energy, so I kept it to very tight, close circle of friends. And then within in the same space, I think there were other people who would pass one or two comments. Charlie, why don't you just forget about it?
Detracted, yeah.
I
Yeah.
became notorious for that, right? Very often I had people who, if you want, were somewhat my mentors. I think they had good intentions. Perhaps again felt a bit worried about me, and they would pass certain comments like that. Charlie, I'd never found a foul. Yeah, do something else, right? So I think one important thing I did was, okay, no, I'm going to keep these failures to myself.
Okay.
After all, it's my money, it's my life, it's my resources, it's my energy.
Sorry, let me chip in this one. How much are you paying averagely for each application?
Let's say between $60 and $80.
Wow, for 30 good applications.
But not every application I did required money.
Money, okay.
Not every application I did required money.
But most of them?
Yeah, there were some applications. Oh yeah, but most of them, I had to pay money. Yeah. So anyway, somewhere between $60 and $80. So apart from all the struggles, applications are also expensive.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so finally you got four admissions and you were spoiled with choice. How did you come to finalize on the school that you chose and then your transition into the US? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I think it was a very simple thing for me. One school which I entered is the University of Colorado, I can see that here.
Okay.
I think gave me a perfect fit in terms of the program I wanted to do. They study energy and environmental policy. It is, I think, number 25 as of 2019, 2020.
Okay.
In the US. Okay. So it was a no-brainer. I wanted to study energy and environmental policy, have a school that specializes in that, and they do very well at that.
Okay.
Professors who are known globally for that line of research. I just chose it, even though other schools gave me more money in terms of PhD funding. Yeah, I decided to go for a school that would give me exactly what I wanted. Okay. And then sacrifice a little bit of money. Yeah.
Okay, so for you, I think you had a plan, and it was not just about comforts or money. You were looking for it to be able to accomplish your dreams, and that's what helped you to make this choice. But what about the transitioning from Ghana to the US, a new environment, something that you've dreamt of all your life? Now you are finally here. How did you transition into the system?
Yeah. So I think my experience is a little different from, I can't say for everybody, but I think I can say that my experience was a little different in the sense that before I came to the US, I had done quite a bit of traveling.
Okay.
I had been to Norway, I had been to Italy, I had been to the Netherlands, I'd been to South Africa, I'd been to Hong Kong, I'd been to Hungary, quite a few countries here and there. Okay. So coming to the US, of course, it was my very first time coming here, but it wasn't the idea of having some international exposure wasn't new for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't new, and so I wasn't overwhelmed. I don't think I was. It was fairly normal, if you ask me. I wasn't, as they say, I didn't go through what they say called cultural shock. in some ways had a few surprises here and there, but it wasn't overwhelming.
Okay.
And I think part of that can be traced to my prior experiences traveling. And doing a few things here and there internationally. I suspect that but for those travels, maybe my experience could have been different. Yeah.
All right.
That's my suspicion.
So now let's go a little bit into student life. Student life, PhD students, in one of the coldest area in the US.
I know. Yeah. I told you it was something I was dying to do, right? So it was a no-brainer. This is what you really wanted to do.
So whatever
And I
it
have the
takes.
opportunity. Yeah, you get into the program and all you have to do is to concentrate and focus. I think that's what I did.
Okay.
The US is I'm sure you know, higher day, it's a nice place and it's easy to get distracted.
Yes.
It's very easy to get distracted.
Yes.
By all these, there are so many things that can distract you, positively and negatively, right? I think what helped me really was being able to focus on your books and just burying your head into why you came here. So church, classroom, library, research, church, classroom, library, research, that kind of thing. And occasionally, you get out and, see the other parts of the United States, but more generally, I think it was confined into that space.
Okay.
So I would say that was what, if there's anything magical about it, I think that was.
Okay, so any key lessons for young people who might want to pursue a PhD?
In hindsight, any key lessons. I think at some point I really like the idea of PhD and everybody should go get it. I don't think PhD is for everybody.
Okay.
Not that people can do it, but I think you don't need a PhD necessarily to progress in your line of career.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what I want to say. I'm not suggesting that people are not smart enough to get a PhD. No, far from that. I think if you are dedicated, committed, and willing to explore and study, pretty much anybody can get a PhD. But not everybody necessarily needs a PhD in their line of career. Okay. So if anybody is thinking of doing a PhD, I think that the first question they should try to answer is, do you really need a PhD?
Okay.
Do you really need a PhD to progress in your line of career? And if you don't, you probably don't want to spend that amount of time. If however you decide that PhD is what you want to do, I think it demands a lot of commitment.
Okay.
It's not, you don't have to be super, you don't have to be super smart. You don't need an incredibly high IQ. A little bit counts, but it's not about the roof. Really, it is down to your capacity to focus, to be committed, and willingness to learn. Really, that's what it is. A willingness to learn. See all these crazy books. Plenty of them. All right. A willingness to learn and curiosity to want to know. Really, I think those are if you want the psychological ingredients you need, if you ask me, to want to pursue a PhD.
Okay.
The rest are bells and whistles, I think.
Okay. All right. So now you're done with PhD. You start looking for jobs and all that. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How you were able to land your job in the US?
Yeah. Interestingly, my job market experience was very, very smooth.
Great.
I went on a job market for the very first time and I got a job.
Okay.
Plain and simple. When I got to my second year, or let's say the beginning of my third year, that's when I started thinking about the job market. Right. So I would observe keenly any job application I saw, to examine, okay, what are they looking for? What kinds of jobs are getting out there or are coming up for a particular year. And then based on that, I'll have interactions with students on the job market in my school and how they are preparing and what they think, where they think the job market is going, those kinds of things. Right? Those were informal conversations I had to get a feel of the job market and be able to, if you want to figure out how to position myself and get ready Okay. So by the time I got to by the time I was ready for the job market, I think I had a fairly good sense of what to do. A bit of that also came from the fact that I did a lot of conference presentations, attending conferences in the US. I think I also did some international conferences. I went to Canada, I went to Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, these are the two I remember I did internationally. But for the most part, I was just roaming
The
in the
US. Okay.
contiguous United States. And for many of those conferences, you go, you make a presentation, and people get to know you, people get to see you,
Okay.
and then you network with
people
and professors, right? And those kinds of networks, I would say, don't always have to be transactional and instrumental. I think sometimes we get too bogged down into wanting to form these networks only because of what we think we can get.
Okay.
I don't think that's necessarily healthy. Forming genuine relationships, professional relationships.
Okay.
For me, I think did a trick. So you could email a professor in a different school, and they would let you know maybe they are hiring or not, like all those kinds of things. And then also, I think thirdly, understanding that you don't always have to succeed the first time you go to a job market. So even though I went to a job market the first time and I was successful, I was hoping to fail.
Yeah. For you, failure is not something that was really to you,
Oh no.
especially
Yeah,
what
where I
you
sit
went
right now,
through.
no.
Yes. Yeah. During
Yeah,
your
where I sit right now, failure, mistakes, disappointments, no, it's fine. It's perfectly fine.
yeah.
Whether you caused it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sometimes we are the cause of our own challenges and difficulties.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do realize that. Other times, circumstances beyond our control. Okay. They also happen. Either way, no, it is what it is. Just embrace it. Just get into the mindset that really life doesn't owe you anything, and nobody really owes you anything. So just appreciating the fact that okay, I think I have all these things that I want to go onto the job market, but I'm open to failing.
Okay.
That was okay for me, and I was going to be content with that.
All right.
I did, I think, about 6 or 7 applications, and I had probably like 8, and I had 4 interviews.
All right. So you finally got into your dream profession, because teaching at the highest level is something that you've always dreamed of, and then finally you got in. How was it like? How was the feeling like? And beyond that, how did you integrate into the teaching life of a whole new kind of student? Because I remember you said you were once a TA back in Ghana, so you had a little bit of experience with regards to
teaching experience.
But beyond that, teaching American students and everything, how was it?
I mean, initially was quite interesting because okay, all of a sudden you realize that you have a completely different audience. You speak differently. You have an interesting accent, though your accent is not unintelligible. Anybody who pays attention to you can decipher what you're saying, right?
Okay.
Going back to those failures, so I had to learn a few things because it was a slightly different location in the United States in terms of geography. But the classroom encounter wasn't really shocking. I did a bit of teaching when I was in my doctoral program.
Okay.
So it wasn't the first time I had to teach white people. They're all white students. I'm the only black guy in my class. That's
wow.
quite interesting. Yeah. Not all the time though. There were times I think there have been times I've had 1 or 2 black people in my class. So it wasn't novel. It was just initially a few things you had to learn, but a couple of weeks it was normal. Getting to a different environment. Now I would say you realize that okay, so at this point you are no longer a student. Then you have to start thinking like a faculty member.
Okay.
and behaving like one. All right. I think it took me quite a while.
Yeah.
Because I've never been a faculty member here.
Okay.
So just understanding that, okay, it's a new environment and you have a few things to learn. Observing what people do during meetings, a bit of self-belief in what you can do and what you can contribute to, and what you bring to the table.
Okay.
With those things.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So with all this background and new system, were there some kind of lessons that helped you, or were there some kind of training back in Ghana that helped you to be able to integrate easily into the US system?
So I'll split that into formal and informal training.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm sure you know Ghana is a developing country. It's a tough place.
Yeah.
Life is difficult and challenging, especially if you are coming from a humble background.
Okay.
Okay. So I think in retrospect, I think I had some experiences growing up that I sit back and they make much more sense to me.
Okay.
They make sense in the sense that I think they probably are the reasons why I'm not too worried about failure and disappointment and mistakes, and because you grow up having a hard life.
Hard one, hustle.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, having a hard life. Yeah, a hustler, right? You grow up experiencing scarcity all the time. Okay,
Yeah.
you don't have abundance. You don't swim in the abundance of resources. Okay,
Yeah.
resources are meager, so you have to make do with the little you have or what you have.
Okay.
You grow up knowing that determination can make a difference because you struggled through life.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so when you are plunged in the context of the United States, where I would say there are all kinds of levers to help a person climb the social mobility ladder. For me, it's a no-brainer. Yes, a matter of taking advantage of the opportunities that come your way and doing your best. So I'll say that for the informal side. I think formally, one of the things that I felt happy about, if I think about the educational system in Ghana, which back in the day I really didn't appreciate it, but I think the emphasis on consuming knowledge. So what people normally call rote learning. Okay, your ability to soak in
Is it the
knowledge.
chew and pour?
I wouldn't necessarily call it that way, but maybe.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe the chew part, not necessarily the pour part, maybe the chew part.
Okay. The chew.
Your ability to, your ability to study something and keep it in mind, keep it in your memory.
Okay.
Not losing it.
Yeah. Okay. 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 So usually the mistake we do is that we chew, we pour, and we forget. But for this one,
yeah,
the ability to be able to chew.
To retain what you learn.
Okay, yes. To retain what you learn. Okay, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, capacity to retain what you learn.
Okay.
I think proved useful.
Okay.
I don't know what is it about again in education that does that. But I'm sure back home there's a lot of emphasis on the ability to retain.
Yeah.
So that I think really helped me in my PhD training because you're doing a heavy amount of reading.
Okay.
Okay, and you can't get away with the excuse that I've forgotten.
Yeah,
you can't say I've forgotten.
Yeah.
Right? Your capacity to demonstrate that you have read and understood what the items that were assigned to you really lies in your ability to recall what you learned and demonstrate that in your engagement in class and with your professors, and you have to remember.
Yeah.
So if you don't remember, you're going to be like, did we study? When you can't study, I studied though, but I've forgotten.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think those two things.
Okay. All right.